Okay.
Can you all hear us?
I think you can. Yes, but afterwards we will be gladly to talk to all of you with the future possibilities, and we will not take this for 2 hours. It will be it will be short and precise, and you are welcome to ask questions. Meanwhile, we are talking, so it will be very informal, and you are just allowed to raise your hand if you have any questions. I think maybe we'll start by showing a fun video about Denmark that shows how the Danish people are and what you can expect from the Danish people.
So maybe the Vikings didn't exactly serve as the best starting point for trusting us Danes. But a lot can happen in 1,225 years. At Trust to Us, we welcome you to the land of trust! Surveys show that we're the most trusting country in the world. But what do we mean by trust? Well, in some countries, it would be considered madness leaving your infant unattended in the street. But in the land of trust, that's how we stroll. 72% of the Danes say they trust each other, and that is the highest number in the world. Even the Danish wildlife are of the trusting nature. I mean, imagine this scenario in downtown Manhattan. Blind trust has led to a lot of things. In our country, we trust our chefs. As a result, wild fooding has become mainstream.
Se, jeg har fået en hvid chokolademad med i dag, med skovmyre på.
Må jeg smage?
Ja.
Det giver sådan en god effekt med myrerne på. Sådan lidt citrusagtigt.
In Denmark, we keep our word, and we're never late for an appointment. We have the most precise mechanical clock in the world, and since it was built more than 50 years ago, it has never been late. Not once! Right now, the first act is starting. The capacity of the opera is 1,500 seats. That's a lot of jackets. And here's another thing. They're left completely unattended. But I better leave this one hanging. I trust someone will need it later. We even trust our men to take maternity leave. This is Denmark, a bunch of trusting folks. Some might call us naive, but we believe that trusting one another makes all the difference. And you should try it too. Try trusting someone just for 5 minutes a day and see for yourself the magic power of trust.
Yeah, so that was a short presentation about Denmark in an unusual way. And now we will go through some slides. Yes, this is Denmark, the small country right there, as you can see. We are not that big. We are only 6 million inhabitants, and the good thing about Denmark, especially from people looking to join Denmark in an international way, we are 10% of the population was born abroad. And yeah, another fun fact is the highest point is not very high. We live in a very small and a flat country, but we are all the time we are close to the sea, so that's one of the positive things about Denmark. And yeah, it's safe. It's a safe country. As you saw in the video, people are trusting each other, and we are a happy country, happy nation. Maybe we will come back to that later. So yeah, that was fun facts.
Yeah. So as you saw in the video, we used to be these bright little Vikings, and as you can see, we're not anymore. So we're actually so calm now that we made a whole concept about it that's called hygge. And hygge is more than a feeling than it is really a tangible concept. So it's about creating and enjoying the small things in life, and it's always cold outside in Denmark, and then we have some very long winters when it's dark outside all the time. So we have to stay inside and get the best out of every moment, maybe light a candle and read a good book. But now it has been like sort of a thing for the whole year. So now when it's light all the time, we meet together around a bonfire instead. So hygge is like this very comfortable feeling that you have with the people that you really care about. And you're going to hear that a lot if you move to Denmark, that people invite you for hygge.
Hygge is also a good example that we praise a lot this work-life balance that we have in Denmark. So you're able to be very ambitious in your work, but we still prioritize to have time for our family and our friends. And this hygge is a very good example of that.
The famous Danes. Of course, you can read them for yourself. The most interesting one for you maybe is Michael Laudrup, who played for both Barcelona and Real Madrid. And of course, we have some famous athletes as well, also in tennis. Right now we have Holger Rune competing against the best. Also in cycling we have Vingegaard also. So yeah, but in the corporate life we also have some big partners. We have these. Yeah, we have for the architects and the fashion. There's I don't know which dress this is from, but it could be from Bestseller. And then we have architecture through is that Bjarke Ingels who's made that? And also we have Jan Utzon from that made the famous building in Sydney. Yes, Australia, the Opera House. Maybe you've seen it with the 3 or 4 shapes. It's very very pretty. So we are famous for a lot of things in Denmark, even though many people don't realize that these things are actually from Denmark, because we're such a small country that we don't talk about it a lot. But now we do, that's why we're here. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because we're such a small country, we always had to reach out to the world around us. And that's why 59% of our GDP comes from export. Mainly with the United States, Germany and Sweden. Of course, Germany and Sweden because they're so close to Denmark, so it's easy for us. But the things that we export the most are pharmaceutical products and food and dairy. Like maybe you know Carlsberg and what? Arla. Arla they make cheese and yogurt. But the thing that we export the most in Denmark is actually pigs. And we have the world record in exporting pigs. Also all kinds of energy, like solar, wind and water energy. And again, the furniture. And these are some of the global export companies that you might have heard of. The toy for kids of all ages, Lego. And some of the fashion and designers that Matthias talked about, Bjarke Ingels Group, the big architect company. Arne Jacobsen made the egg chair, if some of you know about design. And then of course Vestas, they make these wind turbines that you see all around the world as well for making wind energy. Within the robot field we have a very strong robotics cluster in Odense, where we're from. It's a big city in Denmark with 200,000 inhabitants. There's a big robot cluster there. That's sort of like the European Silicon Valley for cobots, where a lot of individual robotics companies, they come together to help each other create the best solutions. And it's mainly about cobots, so robots that help humans in their daily tasks. And if any of you are gamers or ever have been gamers, then IO Interactive is from Denmark, the company that made Hitman. And of course Novo Nordisk is a life science company that makes around half the world's insulin. And they actually have some very interesting positions for newly graduated, and also internships, and a program where you can do your master's thesis in Denmark while working for them part-time. So if any of you are, process engineers or engineers of all kinds, you should have a look at them. And as I said, Arla and Carlsberg, probably the best beer in the world, and Maersk. You might have seen these containers here in Barcelona as well. They sail all around the world with their container ships.
This color, it's actually their own color. They have copyright for the color.
For the color?
Yeah, for the color. It's a Maersk blue, it's called.
Maersk blue.
Yeah, they own that. It's pretty crazy.
I hope I didn't steal it for this presentation.
No.
Life in Denmark.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my favorite slide, I think, because that shows how many minutes you have to work in Denmark to earn enough money to buy a Big Mac. So yeah, I think it speaks for itself. And of course, then people ask a lot about the taxes in Denmark because they are pretty high. But in Denmark, we get a lot of benefits through the taxes, so it's just the money that just go through the state, and then we'll never see them again. We get the free healthcare and schooling and elderly care and 5 or 6 week paid vacation every year, and there's a lot of good things coming out from those tax monies. Even as you saw in the video, the maternity leave is also for men, so it's not just for women. The system is quite good, we think so, and that's why we are the happiest people in the world. We've been a couple of times. Right now we are in the second place, I think, but we'll come back.
I don't know what Finland has that we don't.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Saunas. So the expats, what do they say about living in Denmark? They say that we have a high level of security, just like you saw in the video with the babies sleeping outside the cafes. But also another good example are these road stalls that pop up all around the country right now, selling the fresh berries and fruits from the gardens and lemonade. And people leave them outside by the road, and the people who want to buy something, they leave the money and take the goods, and they go again. So nobody has to stay there and take care of the berries or the money. They say that we have a great international population where it's easy if you're from another country to find someone like you in your local area and your communities, where they make events for international people. Also because we know that it's easier to talk to somebody else from another country about living in Denmark than talking to a Danish person who has been there their whole life. They also say that we have ever-changing weather, that it's a very good idea to bring your rain jacket with you all the time, even though it starts with 25 degrees in the morning. You never know what's going to happen. And they say that Danes are very private, so it might be difficult to get a new friend in Denmark because Danish people won't be the ones to invite you out for a beer. But if you invite them for a beer after work, then they'll definitely go with you, and then you'll have a new friend. You just have to take the first step, maybe. And there are a lot of these expat stories on our website where you can get more inspiration. This, for example, is Jan, who came from Germany to work in Denmark, and I know Esther can tell you more about the system that he used called TMS. So he got funding for the relocation of him and his family to go to Denmark, so he didn't have to pay for that part of it. Yeah. And please do check in on our website from time to time, because we get these new expat stories all the time. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you get a job in Denmark, then tell us so we can make a story about you. The Danish labor market.
Yeah, this is just a slide with a lot of numbers. So I don't think I'll go through all the numbers because you can read them for yourself. But as you can see, a lot of people in Denmark speak English. So this shows the international community that we live in. Also, we speak a lot of German and Swedish, and Mads, example, he speaks Spanish. So people from all over the globe is going to Denmark. So we have an international community.
Also, sorry, because we're only 5 million people who speak Danish in the world. Yeah. So if we want to do anything with other countries, we have to talk other languages as well.
Yeah. Also, as you can see in Denmark right now, we have a very low unemployment rate. So there's a lot of job opportunities. So it's pretty sure that you have a job, and safe to travel to Denmark if you're going looking for a job, because those percents have never been lower. But it's getting lower every time that we check them. So it's about those 3% every day and every month. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's an unusual situation right now, because the unemployment rate is so low, but all the companies are still looking for more people. There's still a higher and higher demand for more workers, and we're more or less running out of Danish people to.
Yeah, we are not that many. That's why we hope to bring some new good brains to Denmark, because we are not that many people, and the companies keep on growing. So we have to do something. Yeah.
I also think it's important to mention that the reason why we have this high demand is because we have a lot of, even though we're such a small country, we have always been very, very innovative and very much in the front of developing new products. So a lot of countries from abroad invest in Danish companies. So it's because that we have these very interesting companies, and this also offers a great opportunity for all of you to work with a Danish company whom are in the front of their area. So for you to get a job with them and be able to evolve your skills and also be a small part of creating something innovative, I think could be very interesting for you. And when you want to go home again, you have really something of value to offer a Spanish company when you want to go home again at one point.
Yeah, that's exactly what we all think, because even though we want you all to come to Denmark to work, of course we also want to give you something for the life, not just a good experience in Denmark and a safe environment, but also something you can take back to the society. And as you can see, this is very important. The Danish courses are free of charge, so if you want to learn Danish, we will all help you and free of charge.
Yeah, you do not have to speak Danish to get a job in Denmark. Most of the companies that are looking for people from outside of Denmark are looking through English adverts, so they know that they're already looking outside of Denmark to find their next employee. It's nice to know Danish maybe for mingling with your neighbor or your kids' teachers and so on, but it's not necessary for your job to speak Danish.
Yeah, the Danish labor market model. This is pretty interesting because there's this thing called flexicurity, which is, as I talked before, there's a low unemployment rate, so it makes the job market it's both safe and, like it says, flexicurity, so it's safe but also unsafe, because in Denmark we work with those unions and things called A-kasser and so on, so it's a bit unusual, but the whole system, the whole word is actually that you have a job, but also you can be fired from that job, but also you get a new job very quick. That's the whole idea about it. It sounds worse than it is, but the thing is that you are certain of a job, because that's the flexicurity, what it means. It doesn't mean that you are fired and then you go unemployed for a couple of months, a couple of years. You can have a new job the day after or so on, because it is such a growing market, and especially in your field, I think. So that's the whole the model of the flexicurity. Maybe Dina have something to say about flexicurity too?
I think an easy way of remembering what flexicurity is in Denmark is, and it sounds a bit intimidating, but we call it easy hire, easy fire. And people say, oh, does that mean I'll just get fired? Yeah, but no. It means that the Danes are not afraid of throwing themselves into a new job, because it's easy also to quit your job. So you can easily try something new, and if it isn't working for you, you just apply for something else. But it also means that the companies, again, it sounds intimidating that it's easy to fire a Dane, but the advantage is that they're not afraid of hiring. So they're not afraid of taking a chance if they see possibility. So if for you young people, if they see your potential and they can really feel your passion and your motivation for a job, then they can say, okay, maybe this person doesn't have the exact skill, the exact experience, but we can really feel that this person wants it, and we can see that the person has the potential. So they are willing to take a chance. That's also why we have such a low unemployment rate among young people, because the companies are not afraid of hiring them, because should it end up being the wrong match, well, they can fire them again. But so it really makes the Danish job market very flexible in a good way.
Yeah, and minimum wages are not regulated by law in Denmark, but we do have a very high level of union membership, and these unions will negotiate your salary on your behalf, matching your skills and your experience with the job, so that you'll always get more or less what the others get that are at your level as well in that same job. Something that I think is different from Spain is the unemployment insurance funds. They're voluntary in Denmark. I don't know how it is in Spain.
Ara? Sí. A Dinamarca és una assegurança voluntària. O sigui, tu pots pagar per després rebre la prestació d'atur o no. Aquí, en canvi, si una empresa et contracta, tu després tens dret a prestació d'atur. És la diferència.
I'm not sure what you said. But yeah, it's voluntary. So if you lose your job in Denmark, then you should already be a member to get insured. So it's important that if you get a job, you inform yourself about these A-kasser, it's called in Danish, unemployment funds, and to be a member of one before you should lose your job. Yeah, but it's very easy, and you can find all this information on our website as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as we talked about earlier, we have this good work-life balance. I think this was Dina was talking about it, and also, yeah, we can see we only work 37 hours a week, which is maybe a little less than other countries do. We have a lot of weeks paid vacation every year. There's a high job satisfaction in Denmark because the companies really have a lot of focus on the employees' mental health, actually, and the whole society in Denmark is built on, people feeling safe and a good environment to work in, because we believe that happy employers are a more effective employer. So, yeah, that's something we focus a lot on.
I think also the key to the job satisfaction that we have in Denmark is that no matter what age we are, we keep on upskilling ourselves. So the employer really offers you the opportunity to keep taking courses and learning new stuff. So you never get stuck in your job unless you're very happy with it. But if you start feeling that you need some challenges, you're always offered them. And it's not only an opportunity, it's actually something that the companies encourage and more or less demand from their workers, because they know that's one of the key factors to keep motivated and keep happy in your job.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's lifelong learning, as Dina just told, and we have an influence on decision-making processes. Yeah, for our job, you can say that we chose to be here today. We are not just sent from our bosses, but the bosses listen to what we have to say. And of course, there's the equal rights in Denmark, but I think that speaks for itself. It's equal rights are equal rights, and that's actually high focus in Denmark. But yeah, it speaks for itself. I think equal rights.
Yeah, we have a very flat hierarchy in Denmark, and that also combines with what you just said about the decision-making process. That it's believed in Denmark that from the first day you can have your say, and they believe that the best ideas can come from all corners of the company. And a lot of international expats has told us as well that it's invisible who's in charge in Denmark. So when you come for your job interview, you don't really know who's the boss and who is the secretary or who is the HR representative, because there's no one like sitting in at the end of the table or wearing a suit. Or it's very relaxed. Everybody has the same to say. And your boss will often say that my door is always open, and that means that you can always drop in at your boss's office if you don't like what you're doing, or you would like to do something else, or feel that you could make a difference in another place in the company. They are always willing to listen to you. Yeah, and it's a very informal setting. The tone of communication and clothes, it's just, what you want to wear, more or less. So yeah, it's very flat, and it's supposed just to be a nice place to be without too many rules as well. We work a lot in teams in Denmark. There are no micromanagement from the bosses, and as we also saw in the video, it's based a lot on trust, that they believe that when they give you an assignment, you'll do it the best you can, and if you have problems, then you can always ask them, but they won't stop in every hour and ask how you're doing, or why didn't you do it like that, or so on. So if you do make a mistake, you shouldn't try to lie about it or cover it up, because then they'll just lose respect for you. So just be open about it, and they'll respect you for that instead. We have a lot of humor, we think. So if you make a mistake, and if you can laugh a little bit about your own mistakes, then everybody will laugh with you, not at you. And maybe you have to bring failure cake or failure beer to work on Friday because you messed up. And that just means that you're part of the team. Nobody's bullying you. So yeah, if you're made fun of, you're really just a part of the team. And it's supposed to be fun to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, this is some links that are pretty difficult for you right now, but maybe we can check it out later, because it makes sense to have a look with each other one-on-one. But yeah, I don't know if they will get this PowerPoint, or...
Will you share the presentation with the students? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Then you have the links, and all this, the Work in Denmark site, that's our site, and then there's JobNet, which is the official government job database, and JobIndex is a private company who offers a lot of jobs. They have, really large amount of jobs, and the Hub and the Graduate Land. Graduate Land are, as you can see, for students and graduates, so that would really make sense. But also keep an eye on the company websites, and I think maybe we should just talk about this one-on-one in a couple of minutes or something, if that makes sense, and if you are up to that.
Yeah.
For those of you who maybe joined us a bit later, we are here and we're not in a hurry. So if any of you have considered working abroad and maybe have some questions, we will gladly be available for you. You can just come down and ask us. And if you want us maybe to look at your resume and maybe talk a little bit about what the job opportunities for you could be in Denmark, we would also gladly go through that with you. So yeah, you can just really ask us for our time. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell them about the website?
The website?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I can. Well, this is our website. And of course the work we do at Work in Denmark is we work to help the companies attract the workers that they need. But if you look at our homepage, you have one small area in the top for employers and all the rest are for the candidates. And it's because we know that if we want to attract candidates from abroad, we need to make you feel secure during the entire process. So it can be intimidating moving to another country, because what is important for you to know? Where to find the jobs, how can I write an application, and what to do when coming to Denmark. So we have really tried to gather all the important information that you would need for an international when you come to Denmark. So you can find tips and you can watch tutorials on how to write an application, how to create a strong and attractive resume, but also how to write an unsolicited application. Because right now, I think that's a really strong way maybe to find the dream job for you. Because there is such a high demand in Denmark, you don't need to wait for the job opportunity to pop up. You can actually look for it yourself. So if you have a specific ambition, you can simply search out an interesting company. Novo we have mentioned a few times, but it is this really big innovative company. So if you want to work within life science and pharmaceutical products, and they don't have a position tailored for you, you can just write an unsolicited application. Write to them what is your passion, what is your dream, and what is it that you can offer them that is unique. And even though they don't have the position, they would easily consider you anyway, because if they can see your potential, well, then skilled workers in Denmark is in so high demand that when you're there, they will try to do everything they can to keep you in the company, because they never know when a person with your skills will come around again. So the unsolicited is a really strong card at this moment. Yeah. What else? Yeah, well, again, you can find tips and tutorials where you can see how to write these applications. But also, if you want to know, what do I need to apply for when I come to Denmark? You need to have a CPR number, for example. You need to have a bank account when you need to receive your salary. How do you find an apartment and a place to live? Well, we have tried to gather everything on our homepage. But it's also important to know that we are not only there for the companies, we're equally as important available for you. So if you have any questions, you can also just pick up the phone and call us, or write us an email with the questions that you might have. And I know myself and all of my colleagues, we are around 24, we're very passionate about the work that we're doing. So we will gladly help you in any way that we can. So don't hesitate. If you have any doubts, just take a hold of us.
So yeah, this is our job portal. So that's when you click the search for jobs button. You get in here, and there you can put in your education or skills you have, or maybe a job title that you think that you would be applying for. And so you'll get all of the results that we have. Right here you can see that there are 2,611 job postings, and those are all from companies looking for people from outside of Denmark. So you're sure that they're looking for someone who's not Danish when you look for a job in there. You can also use these criteria here on location, for example, if you only want to work in Copenhagen or in Aarhus, the second biggest city, or if you only want to work 30 hours a week and so on, you can use these different settings.
And really be creative when you type in these keywords. Because if you just type in the position, the name of the position, you won't necessarily find the positions that you're interested in. So it could also be keywords with skills that you have, education or something like that. So really, if you really want it, play around with it. Try typing in all sorts of keywords, because you will see that many different jobs pop up where you say, oh, why didn't it pop up when I search for the specific job? So really just try typing in all sorts of words.
The recruiters?
Yeah, I can say, do you want? I can do it. Okay.
I can help
you. Me again.
We have a whole webinar solely about job search tips when you're looking for a job in Denmark that I would advise you to take. It's free as well. But the main point is that you do a lot of research when you write your application and your CV. You shouldn't just send the same CV and the same application for every company. Like, they need to see that you're really interested in this specific position. And normally we say that the CV talks about your past, and then your application talks about the future, how you can use all your experience to make this company better with using your experience. For example, they will list a lot of keywords or key skills that you have to match, but most of the times they're looking for a 5-legged goat. I mean, they won't get all of these tags. So don't be afraid if you don't feel like you live up to all of these key points that they want in a new employee.
I always call it the Christmas wish list.
Yeah.
So when you're a child, you always write everything you want, but you know you won't get everything. It's kind of the same when the companies list the qualifications that they wish you to have. Yeah. They do know that finding the one that matches everything is like almost impossible. So if you see the potential and if you generally think that you could do the job, and yeah, you know, you maybe need to learn something some of the key elements that you don't know, well, that's completely okay. The Danish companies will gladly invest in you to develop you into the dream employee that they wish.
Yeah, and something we didn't mention before is that it's very okay to call the hiring manager. So if you see a job posting, there's a little name on the side with the hiring manager and his phone number and mail. So if there's something you don't understand about this job posting, you can always call them and ask, what do you mean when you say this? Because I might have some experience with this and this. Does that match what you're expecting? And that also makes them remember you when they receive your CV and cover letter. Remember, yeah, I talked to that Spanish guy once. And you already had your introduction with them on the phone. So that gives you like an advantage and a step ahead of the rest.
Just remember to be prepared before you call.
Yeah.
Because some people say, okay, I can have it matched, so I just call.
Yeah.
And then you have no questions. So that will give you a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So when you do all of this, but also in general, really be prepared before you take a hold of a Danish company, because they do expect you to be prepared and that you have considered the things thoroughly before you contact them.
Yeah. More?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, the job search video tutorials that Dina just talked about. And we also have this e-learning course in 4 modules where you can, it's not a quiz, it's like a very short education into how to look for a job in Denmark, and something about the use of LinkedIn, which is very important in Denmark, that you keep your LinkedIn profile updated because the companies will look you up. And also an introduction to the Danish workplace culture, so you know what you're getting into if you get a job in Denmark. And yeah, there's also something about the job interviews that might be different from your own country. So there are a lot of, what are they called? Regler, uskrevne regler, unwritten rules. Like it's a good idea if you're offered water, then take the water. Just don't say no, just take the water. That just makes a good impression that you want to do what they ask you.
Yeah, I don't know how much you know about Viure, which is this European recruitment service where all the countries in the EU come together to make sure that you know what possibilities are in Europe, because you have this free mobility, so you don't need to apply for a work permit to come to Denmark. You are automatically allowed to come to Denmark, and you can work from day one. So you don't need to apply for anything before you can come to Denmark. You can just do it when you arrive and when you have the job. So if you want to make yourself visible for all these companies who use the Viure network, and many do, you can create a profile on Viure where you can type in all your qualifications and what you are looking for. And many of the companies use this CV portal. I think at the moment there's around 1 million CVs in this CV bank, which makes it really attractive for the companies to use it to do search. So they can go in and type in what they are looking for, and your profile will pop up if you're a match.
Just remember to tick off that you are interested in working in Denmark. Then it will be so much easier to find you amongst the 1 million others.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it. So if you have any questions, please just ask. Or you can also come up here and have a talk about your resume, or we can go through the job bank if you want to try and look for a job in Denmark, if there's something that will interest you.
Yeah. We also have some materials up here with our contact information if you want just to research a little bit when you come home before reaching out to us. No.
Ha quedat tot claríssim?
Yeah.
Com va això? Hi, I'm Adrià. So we three are students at UPC, and we will go to Denmark to study a master's degree.
Yes.
And I was wondering if is it easy to work or to start working in any company if you are already studying a master's degree, so maybe like doing a part-time job or similar, yeah?
Yeah, that's easy. Again, we do have a very high demand for workers, and of course that demand is highest within skilled and highly qualified candidates. But we also look for people, for example, for waiters, or for the supermarket, or any more easy job that also won't take that much focus away from your studies, for example. So yes, that's no problem. But
So it has to be this kind of jobs like waiters, supermarket.
No, you can also, again, if you look into a company who's a match for your education, you could reach out to them and offer you your time and your skills.
Okay.
So of course you can apply for something that relates to your education. But
A lot of companies are also looking for student work.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
For example, Matthias started as a student worker.
Mm-hmm.
In our organization.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
I started a student worker as 1 year ago, and now I'm full time, so it is possible. And of course, I'm quite new at this, so that's why sometimes I give this to Dina, because she's been doing this a bit longer. And just like Mads says, there's this culture for new people like me. I can say something wrong, and then Dina can correct me, and so on, and I won't get fired tomorrow. So there's a comfort. Maybe let's see, but there's a comfort zone in doing things in Denmark, and that's the same for student workers in Denmark. They really value the young people in Denmark, so no problem.
Okay.
And there's a lot of job opportunities. You just have to search for them, I think, because we don't have a lot of them in work in Denmark, but they are on jobnet.dk. So, but we can show you after.
But again, keyword unsolicited, because they won't always put up a vacancy. So if you don't find it on our homepage or where you can look, doesn't mean that they're not looking for somebody. And again, it's very much up to you to also motivate them to employ you, because one of the things that recognizes a Danish company is that if you show the motivation, and of course you have some relevant potential, but then they will acknowledge it and give you the chance. But it's very much up to you. And it's the same with an application. You need to, within one page of your application, you need to convey how much you want the job. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
I've heard that if you are studying and working at the same time, you may have some economic aid from the government. How easy is that to obtain?
You can receive what we call SU when you study. To receive SU in Denmark, you need to have a minimum of 8 hours of paid work per week. So yes, you can apply. When we study in Denmark, we actually get paid to study in Denmark. So we don't only have free education, we don't pay for our education, but we even get paid to go to school. And you can also benefit for this. Again, you just need paid work 8 hours a week. And it's not measured out 8 hours a week. It's just in general. Yeah.
And another question, how important is it to learn Danish? Like, is it a valid thing or it doesn't matter at all?
In the beginning, it doesn't matter. Again, we're very international, and 86% of us communicate fully in English. So it's an integrated part of the big companies in Denmark that we all speak English. But it does give you an advantage. Also, when you're done with your studies, if you learn Danish, it also shows the companies that you're really trying hard. And communicating off school and off work is of course easier. So we do recommend it. And again, you don't need to pay to learn Danish. You can get free courses when if you have work or are studying. No.
Thank you.
Yeah, also I was wondering about you talked about the flex security job market. Would you say that for us, for example, that we've never lived in Denmark, but we know for sure that we're going to be there in September, would you recommend that we start applying for jobs now or we wait until we are there? Because I've applied to some, but completely blindly, because I don't know if I will be able to work and study at the same time, what they expect from a student worker. Would you recommend that if I were to get a job now, accepting it, or maybe waiting until I'm in Denmark?
I think it depends on what kind of work you want to do. Because if it's only to earn the money and have the 8 hours a week, I would wait with applying till you get there so you can start right away. It's very common that when you apply for work in a supermarket or as a waiter, they expect you to start tomorrow. But if you want to find a job related to your education, it can take a bit longer and they will easily wait for you. So it's kind of divided into two. But I would definitely try finding work that's related to your education and get started. Okay. And I would start with searching out the companies. So find a company whom you are interested in. So it's not only about are they interested in you, but are you interested in them? So you could definitely start with that.
Where are you going? To DTU.
Yeah.
Okay. Exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah?
Yes, it is.
Ja?
Hello. Well, I have a question about the aid that you were talking about. We are going on an Erasmus to DTU as well. And even if you are an Erasmus student, are you able to, and if we find a job of minimum 8 hours, are we able to get that aid?
No, I don't think you can combine the two. The aid, the SU, is based on a Danish education. So you can't do both. It's one or the other.
Okay, thanks.
No teniu més preguntes? Bueno, el protagonisme era pels companys d'Eures Dinamarca. A la presentació teniu els seus contactes, us enviaré la presentació, però també tenim a l'Ester d'Eures Catalunya, que també podeu comptar amb ella per qualsevol dubte, i amb UPC Alumni, que sóc jo el qui us representa, i us comparteixo una informació que igual us pot interessar. Coneixeu els préstecs UPC Alumni? És possible, sí, perquè just ara s'ha tret la convocatòria pel curs vinent. Aquí teniu la informació al web d'Alumni. Llavors, els préstecs UPC Alumni estan pensats per gent que vol anar a fer alguna estada formativa a l'estranger. I el que té d'interessant és que, malgrat que es diguin préstecs, sí que són préstecs perquè us deixen diners, però no hi ha interessos, pot ser un màxim de 5.000 euros, si no vaig equivocat, i si demanes 5, hauràs de tornar 5, ni un cèntim més. I els terminis de devolució tampoc té res a veure amb el que faria un banc. Un banc des del primer mes estaríeu començant a retornar el préstec que us han fet. Aquí, si has anat a fer el treball de final de grau a no sé on, o t'has anat d'Erasmus, ningú es plantejarà que comencis a retornar els diners abans que tornis d'anar el que has anat a fer, i en cada cas es pacta individualment com retornaràs els diners, amb quins terminis, etc. I sempre normalment es pacta un període posterior a la finalització dels teus estudis perquè tinguis temps de trobar feina i començar a generar ingressos. Això és el més lligat a internacional. Després, des de carreres, també ens teniu aquí, anem fent tallers regularment. El dijous tenim un de mobilitat internacional, no sé si us interessa especialment Dinamarca o esteu oberts a les experiències internacionals. El dijous el farem online, tindrem a l'Ester que ens explicarà moltes coses interessants d'Eures. La Cristina també, l'Ester i la Cristina d'Eures Catalunya, que ens explicaran coses d'Eures Catalunya. Jo us faré una breu intervenció també i vindran Flandes, una representant d'Eures Flandes, després una representant d'Àustria, no Eures però Àustria, que també tenen ofertes allà, i possiblement, ho hem d'acabar de tancar demà, també una representació d'una associació d'enginyers pel món. Doncs res, això ho podeu trobar aquí, si us interessa. Aquesta, vols treballar a l'estranger. Llavors, a part dels tallers aquests que anem fent regularment, també tenim l'atenció individual, que aquí aquí tenim un company que ha utilitzat el servei i que properament el tornarà a utilitzar segurament. Qualsevol dubte que tingueu o cosa que us podem ajudar respecte a cerca de feina o això, doncs aquí estem, al vostre servei.